No, but I'm just saying, maybe it's still. Let's call this meeting to order, Northern Nevada Water Planning Commission, Wednesday, August 7th, 2019. Starting on the agenda, roll call.
Daniel Henderson. Michael DiMartini. Bill Hauk. Michael Drinkwater. John Enlow. John Flansburgh. Mickey Hazelwood. John Martini. John Combs. Dave Solero. Mervyn Wright.
Here.
John Zimmerman. Harry Fonstock. Thomas Payette. Mylin Nugayan. Cindy Turchek. Ron Penrose. We have a quorum.
The next item on the agenda is public comment. We've got some cards coming forward.
You just call them up during the agenda item. Okay.
So we have,
I'll just call her up.
so we have a request, Kathy Bradhorse on agenda item number 2. Is that public comment?
My name is Kathy Brandhorst, and I am the United States President. I just wanted to let you know there is a problem. I was eating at the senior center today, and I was sitting at a table pretty close to the people who were talking to another lady, asking her if she really needed help. She said, yes, I really do need help, but I'm not getting no help from anybody in the United States. Then the question came up, are you United States born? Yes, I am. Then we cannot help you at all. So this came up at the senior center. I am very upset that she cannot get help because she's United States born. Also, she looks so bad from beatings, bullet holes, and she's trashed all over the city because she's US born. All she wanted to do was live in her apartment. She owns it. Is that the problem? Yes, it is the problem because she has a place to live and it's hers. And I just wanted to tell you too, that's discrimination against a lady who has grandchildren, her own children, and she's trying to raise them here in the city of Reno. She's not getting anywhere except she finds her grandson murdered to death at 2.5 years old. Oh. Also, she sees her granddaughter raped and murdered. Yes, in the streets. And she was also trashed, beaten so badly, you couldn't even tell who she was. And she was thrown in the garbage can after they chopped her up into several pieces. Oh my. And that's the way you treat the US born, isn't it? Yes, it is. She could not find her other grandson, so she went looking down the street by Atlantis. He has a room at the Atlantis Hotel. He's screaming, he's crying. Help me, please help me. I have a room at the Atlantis. I have no place to live. I have no place to move to. Please help me, help me. I could hear this cry because I'm sitting on the bus bench close by. And you know what? They found that little boy's body later, chopped up, thrown in the garbage can. Is that what you're here for?
Is there anybody else for public comment? Seeing none, we're gonna move on to item number 3, which is approval of the agenda.
So move.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4 is approval of the minutes from March 20th and May 1st, 2019 meetings.
One at a time.
We can do them, yeah, we can do them together if you wish, or if we want to separate them.
I'll move to approve
Both?
both agendas, or I mean, both minutes.
Okay.
I'll second.
Got a motion and second to approve both meeting minutes from March 20th and May 1st, 2019. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 5, we have discussion and possible approval of a proposal by the Regional Effluent Management Team for funding in the amount not to exceed $40,000 from the Regional Water Management Fund for an independent expert panel to provide technical assistance, including review and advice concerning certain demonstration projects as part of Northern Nevada Category A+ Reclaimed Water Feasibility Study, One Water Nevada, and if approved, direct the Western Regional Water Commission, Water Resources Program Manager, to execute a contract with Carollo Engineers for that purpose. Jim Smitherman, Water Resources Program Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Regional Effluent Management Team's actually been working with this expert panel in some form since 2015, I think. 2015, 2016 is about my earliest experience with them. The panel's help has been quite invaluable, actually, on one front in helping to develop the state's A+ reclaimed water regulations. And it continues to be valuable to the team as we work through the permitting process for the demonstration projects. The Regional Water Management Fund helped pay for a 2-day meeting of the panel and other experts and regulators in January 2015 through a contract then with Water Reuse Foundation. The budget for that 2-day workshop was about $23,000. I don't think we spent all the money, but since that time, other entities, I think it's been mostly Washoe County who's been paying for the panel's work. There's a current contract with the county that will run in September of this year. So this proposal is to retain Carollo Engineers. The person who has been facilitating the team is actually working for Carollo Engineers at this time. So that's why the county retained Carollo to take care of the needs of the panel. So that person is facilitating and coordinating the panel, and so this proposal would be the same thing. The panel would be reviewing documents, reports, and participating in conference calls, and either as a panel or as individuals in their areas of expertise with the Regional Effluent Management Team. Carollo would also handle logistics and reimbursement of fees and travel-related expenses for a panel meeting that we'd be trying to convene sometime late this year, probably in the fall. And that would include Regional Effluent Management Team members, probably other entity personnel, NDEP, and the Health District. So to get the regulators in the room and make sure we're all on the same page as far as permitting the demonstration projects. The budget is not to exceed $40,000. That's kind of a swag, but based on what it cost for the workshop last year and the other time spent in conference calls, I didn't want to leave it short. We've got 30,000 in this year's budget for it, and then we padded it with another 10 just in case, so we don't have to amend for costs later if we do have a full-blown meeting. With your approval, I will pursue a final scope of work. What you have in your packet is a draft, and then a contract with Carollo Engineers, and I would endeavor to execute that by the end of September. So with that, that's a kind of a summary. I still have to hear back from Carollo as far as the draft scope of work, but I think in general it covers what we're going to need. There may be some details that we would work out before we hit a final. So if you have any questions, I can handle some. Probably there are some people in the room that might know more than me. Back to you,
Question, Mr. DiMartini?
Yes, I have a couple questions. I know there's a lot of optimism on the Class A plus water, and it was talked about back with our joint meeting with the county commissioners. And as I understand, there's a public outreach going on. And of course, with regards to this particular panel, Jim, are those meetings public meetings, and will we be notified? Will the public be notified regarding those meetings? That's one question. Another question is with regards to the public outreach. I've been at a few meetings over the last few weeks, and it seems that there's a lot of speculation as to the quality of this Class A plus water. For instance, will the water meet the tribe's standards for discharge to the Truckee River, for instance? Because there's a lot of discussion about treating the water to Class A plus and then taking that water and discharging it into the Truckee River, ultimately, somehow, or to other water bodies. So there's a question is, what is the quality? Does the public know what the quality is? Will this panel be providing that information to the public? What's being done with regards to Class A water regarding TDS? Is the TDS being lowered? I know these are big questions, but it might be pertinent to spending more money. What's concerning me is we're spending so much money on this, and when we get to the end of the road, will the product be what everybody, including the public, are anticipating it will be? Are pharmaceuticals, endocrine disruptors, and other things, are those all part of the Class A plus standard? I'm not saying they should be, but maybe everybody should know what are we striving for in this Class A plus standard, because I can tell you I don't know what the standard is.
The state regulations are clear on what the standards are for the parameters that are listed, and the list includes a number of contaminants and of emerging concern, or CECs, and what the removal requirements are. Essentially, Class A plus reclaimed water is drinking water standards. As far as the TDS requirements, I believe that it would have to meet drinking water standards for total dissolved solids. To back up and hit your first question, we wouldn't anticipate these being public meetings, publicly noticed meetings. They're the actual technical working group meetings, so it wouldn't be something that would have an open public invitation. As far as the public outreach element of this, one of the panel members, Mark Milan, and Data Instincts is an entity that the Water Commission has a contract with, and he is working through the stages of public engagement that he has used with other entities in California and other states, and so that's a subject of a separate agreement. So in these expert panel meetings, there would probably be some discussion of public outreach and the kinds of materials and messages, but they would not be the center of attention. What we'd be looking at, what would be the center of attention would be, as I stated, the permitting process and getting the demonstration projects permitted so that there could actually be production of A-plus water with all of the safety factors involved, and then to actually use that to demonstrate underground injection of the Class A-plus water. So that is pretty much the lane that this feasibility study is in right now. I don't think that we're contemplating treating it to meet Truckee River discharge standards. I think we're talking about demonstrating that we can produce the water reliably and that we can put it underground through injection wells or possibly infiltration basins, and then monitor the quality of the water underground and then produce it. Maybe at a later time, or at least look at what the quality does as it's underground, what kind of treatment is gained underground.
Okay, thank you. Do you know, with regards to those standards, or do you remember, there's the secondary standards of 1,000, I think it is, for the TDS, and then there's the primary drinking water standards of I think, 500.
500, right.
Do you know if the 500 or the 1,000 is going to be what the quality of the water must meet?
That I don't remember. Some of the other guys more familiar, Commissioner Anlo, you're more familiar with the regulations?
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
I mean, the TDS, the treatment standards do not, the processes that are being proposed for the A-plus water do not remove TDS. So the source water from whichever facility would be the TDS that we would be dealing with, typically in the 400 to 450 milligram per liter range is what we have.
Thank you.
I get a question. So this program is basically monitoring, basically monitoring the standard and just looking at ways to possibly reduce TDS levels? I mean, is that?
No, not really to address TDS at all, but it would be other constituents that would have to be removed from essentially taking Class A reclaimed water or something close to Class B or Class A reclaimed water and treating it to A-plus standards through a series of treatment processes. So the project right now is fine-tuning and demonstrating the treatment processes. And then once we get there, would be to inject the water underground and see how it behaves underground, see how the aquifer behaves.
Yeah. Well, just for the commission's information, was informed by the Environmental Protection Agency headquarters office out of Washington that they're gonna be proposing a reuse, a water reuse management or water reuse action plan. So they're gonna be looking at, groundwater injections, infiltration. We'll be looking at, different coordinated activities with respect to, I think it's primarily focused on injection. So there's a conference coming up in September in San Diego. It was interesting to see the agenda, and then I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with Pat Mulroy out of Southern Nevada. She's going to be a speaker there to be talking about some of the stuff going on out here in the USA Parkway and possible effluent reuse there. So I don't really know too much about what's happening currently with that, but I just wanted to inform the commission that probably see some movement coming out of on a national level with headquarters, and they're really talking with states and local governing authorities about this reuse action plan. But I'll get that to you, Jim, and you can probably distribute it to the rest of the commissioners.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. That's a good tip.
So any more questions regarding agenda item number 5? We do have a public comment card. Let me see if there's any more questions from the commission first. All right, we have a request for public comment from Kathy Brandhorst on this agenda topic.
My name is Kathy Brandhorst, and I am the United States President. I just wanted to let you know, are you selling the water to somebody else, or are they really stealing the water from our area? I noticed the river has been going down real fast because, other areas, they had the poor people living there, and they live off of rivers. Why do they do that? They can't afford to pay for water when they don't live there. Oh, my God. If they don't live in the house, how could they get running water? By stealing it out of the river, by stealing it from your neighbors if you want clearer water. These are lawsuits at $40,000. These lawsuits are going to keep growing because you're not going to stop it, are you? You're going to just allow them to steal the water no matter where they need that water. And you're going to allow them to water their lawn with that water too. How much is that going to cost? $1,000 because they had to steal it from somebody else? And you're going to be charged lawsuits. This is a big problem in our area right now. We don't even have the water that we need to shower. Because, I was in a motel room. Right next door to me, they were showering. As soon as I turned on my water looked like a real small stream because they have to use my water out of my room. They don't live there. They don't get running water. They don't have gas and electric. They don't have phone service. They don't have nothing because they don't live there. That's why they're doing that. And you know what? They can put the pipes in there if they want to, so that they can steal my water from my room because I paid for my room. And you know what? I had a battle with bugs too. I had cockroaches, black bugs all over my floor. And I had to take my shoes off and battle with them all night long. That's how much they were growing in that room. I laid down for just a few minutes and the bugs were all over my face. That's why these people don't have the money to live next door. They don't have cleaning products.
Okay, so any further questions or discussion regarding agenda item number 5? Yes, Mr.
So on this item, obviously, there's been a lot of discussion lately in North Valleys and looking to A-plus treatment for the wastewater treatment plant up there. As a region, we put a lot of time and effort into the South Truckee Meadows plant and doing the pilot studies there. And I just see this as an extension of that work that we've done, proving up this science, making sure the regulations are what need to be put in place, and really understanding how the water is the treatment, and then when it goes into aquifer and how that's working out. This is going to be important to our region in the next years to come, and so I fully support this, and I'm ready for a motion. And if you like, I
Yes.
move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so I guess, Mr. Smitherman, you'll move forward then with the next steps with regard to this action item.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the direction.
We'll move on to item number 6. Discussion and possible recommendation to the WRWC to accept a Clean Water Act grant from the state of Nevada in the amount of $40,000 to partially fund the ongoing Bedell Flat Aquifer Storage and Recovery Investigation and enter into a sub-grant agreement with the Nevada Division of Environmental Protection for that purpose. Jim Smitherman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Actually, this item and the following item, number 7, are very closely related. I debated whether or not I should combine the two and just have one item. I wonder, can we do that now, and just in the interest of time? Or
I think so. I think in looking at item number 7, it is complementary.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Then I'll cover them all in one. So this item, in this item, I'm seeking a recommendation to the Western Regional Water Commission to accept a $40,000 Clean Water Act grant from NDEP. That's available to the Western Regional Water Commission as the Clean Water Act Section 208 Water Quality Planning Agency. And then also to execute the grant agreement with NDEP. And then in item 7, also executing an interlocal agreement with the Turkey Meadows Water Authority because they're conducting the Bedell Flat project. So that's the recommendation from the effluent management team, is to have this $40,000 go to support the ongoing Bedell Flat aquifer storage and recovery investigation. And this is related to A+ effluent management. So if you'll recall, 3 years ago, we got a similar grant from NDEP and executed a similar sub-grant agreement and a similar interlocal agreement with the Truckee Meadows Water Authority for the earlier work at Bedell Flat. That work yielded favorable results, hence the continuation of the program. The Clean Water Act funding rotates around among the 208 agencies, so it's rotated back around to us. I talked to the state, said, that project's going, can we put more money towards that? They gave me the thumbs up, so we got a scope of work from Truckee Meadows Water Authority. That's in your packet as one of the exhibits to the sub-grant agreement. And so that work would entail involving, or it would involve analysis of soil samples from 10 boreholes to determine hydraulic properties, then also installation of a weather station that can transmit meteorological data to help predict, for example, precipitation, snowpack melt, infiltration, evaporation, those sorts of parameters. So let's see, I already covered the item, the interlocal agreement with Tumwa. So with that, the entire sub-grant agreement is in your packet. It has the scope of work in it, has all the requirements of NDEP, and really it's just ready for recommendation on to the Western Regional Water Commission. They can execute it, and then we can get the contract with the Truckee Meadows Water Authority signed as well. So that's it in a nutshell. If you have any questions, we have some people who can field questions about the scope of work in particular. The administrative part of it, I can probably field questions, but I would turn it back to you, Mr. Chairman, now.
Okay, are there any questions of the commission?
I do have, I think, just one question, and that is with regards to all these studies, you know, us as commissioners, I believe we're getting periodically, once a year, once every quarter, whatever it is, we're getting some summaries of what's gone on. But as far as getting the results of the studies, you know, for instance, you discussed, Jim, that there was some success, you know, in Bedell Flat on some previous studies. Where is all this data available to the public? Where can they go, or where can even the experts go to access, or specifically us, where can we access the results and the detail of all these studies? Do you know?
Since Tum was conducting the Bedell Flat study, I think I would defer that question to Christian Croft. I know is in the seats. Okay, John Zimmerman's up here. Can you help?
I'm leaving.
With that, as far as public access to the results of the study so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've had a couple Tumwa board reports on that project, and then anything else would be a public records request, or a member of the commission can just email us for requests for specific information. And then just for a summary on the project, we can have Christian give just a brief update too, if you want to at this time.
Okay. Well, I know that I have the final report for the work that was funded with the last $40,000 grant, so I can certainly make that available to the commissioners. I can send you a link to that, or if it's short enough, just to send it to you. And then, but that was just a small piece of the bigger project.
Yeah, I would certainly like that, and see if maybe later, maybe there'd be another agenda item. It would seem that with the importance of all this work going on, and with the fact that the general public, including experts, are not not allowed to go to these meetings and hear what's going on firsthand, from what I understood you to say earlier, we need to have some way for at least the experts and us to be able to access a common repository. Because I don't, for instance, I don't know specifically what to ask Tumwa for. So if there's not some way to see what's going on, then I think we're lacking information. That's what I've been finding over the last year, is there seems to be a lot of difficulty in finding and accessing information. So that would just be my comment.
So with respect to the storage and recovery investigations, you know, that has been ongoing, you know, I take it, Tomo has been conducting some of these investigations, and the results, you know, with the reporting that has come out, are we making progress? I mean, are we moving in a direction that you know, this work here that you're proposing is basically gonna further the details of the results?
Yes, yes. They'll follow up on, there were some infiltration tests in trenches in the surface in the first phase, and those returned favorable results, and so now they're going to go deeper into boreholes and take soil samples and do some detailed analysis of what the aquifer materials look like at depth. And then also, you know, it's looking promising enough to start keeping track of what the weather is like right there locally out in Bedell Flat. So that's the other element of this part of the study. So yes, and I can request a kind of a status report on kind of results so far, and then what the scope is to move forward on the rest of the project, maybe for the coming year. And if you'd like to see that as a future agenda item.
Okay.
Well, I think I would, at least, or have a mechanism where I know where to go to find the information.
Find the information, okay.
You know, from a practical standpoint, the old phone system where you would call up somebody and try to ask for the information doesn't work very well anymore, because there's too many answering machines and there's too many unsolicited calls filling up these phone systems to where it's not even possible in a lot of areas to even get phone numbers anymore to call. So that's just my comment. I need to look to you, Jim, to fill the commission in, I think, or to fill me in at least, with where we can find this data.
Okay, I will look into that, and I'll get your report back.
Thank you.
So item number 6 is basically requesting approval of the commission to apply for the grant,
Well, to accept the grant,
accept the grant.
yeah, and execute the grant agreement.
Okay. And then item 7 is basically stating that the funding from the grant will reimburse the costs that,
Tumwa incurs,
okay,
and it would be to execute an agreement for that.
okay. So I think we'll take them separately then. So we'll deal with action item number 6, or agenda item number 6. So if there are any further questions, Mr. Kronenberg?
No further questions. There it is. No further questions on this, but again, just as part of our efforts, both Bedell Flat, the work that's been done has primarily just been, again, those infiltration rates. Certainly we can get some information back and look at that, but I would move to approve item number 6 for the acceptance, or to accept the grant or to make a recommendation to the Western Regional Water Commission to accept the Clean Water Act grant from the state of Nevada in the amount of $40,000.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve, to accept the Clean Water Act grant from the state of Nevada and recommend to the Western Regional Water Commission to accept this grant.
Yeah, it's a recommendation to the commission, to the Western Regional, to accept the grant and execute the sub-grant agreement with the state of Nevada.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so then action, item number 7, now, we have discussion and possible recommendation to the Western Regional Water Commission to approve a proposed scope of work and budget in the amount not to exceed $40,000 from the Regional Water Management Fund for the Truckee Meadows Water Authority to continue Bedell Flat Aquifer Storage and Recovery Investigation, and enter into interlocal agreement with TUMWA for that purpose. Anything further on this, Mr. Smitherman?
No, I don't have anything further.
Are there any questions from the commission on this? We do have a request for public comment from Kathy Brandhorst on this item number 7.
My name is Kathy Brandhorst, and I am the United States President. Evictions. Every time you move into a place, you say you live there. You don't live there at all. That's why we have to wait for these evictions. Most of the time, we're just waiting 2.5 months now before you get evicted because we know you don't live there. So why are you trying to break into these homes? I have no idea. But this $40,000 again is coming up again. I still say it's lawsuits. Also, the poles and wires are growing out there again because you still need, after you move in illegally, you don't live there at all, you need to put up the poles and wires. Yes, so you can steal the electric from somebody else. You can steal your gas from somebody else. You can also steal the water. I saw the water dripping from the wires because you needed to steal that water from somebody else. And that's how you're getting your water, your gas and electric, your phone service, by stealing it from somebody else. And also, after you can't even afford to live there, you don't pay your rent, so you don't live there. You claim you do, but you don't live there at all. You need to stay off the property after evictions, but you don't stay off the property at all. You're still stealing water from the river too, after they told you to not steal from your neighbors. Your pipes are getting so big now that you can also support yourself and your relatives, friends. Those pipes are now extending to another house from the river because they don't live there either. They have to have the water out of the river. Stealing it. You have here interlocal agreement with Truckee Meadows Water Authority. Well, what kind of agreement are you trying to say? The Clean Water Act grant? What clean water are you trying to say? The city? The county water? We don't have any water unless you pay for it. Are you going to pay for their water, stealing the water from us? We pay our water. We pay our gas and electric. We pay for our telephone service.
Okay, any further discussion on item number 7? I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve, or recommend to the Western Regional Water Commission to approve the proposed scope of work in the amount of $40,000 as described in item 7 on our agenda.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to item number 8, Program Manager's Report. Mr. Smitherman.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. These are the two charts that you're used to seeing in this item. So item 8A is the status report on projects and work plan. So as I've explained before, as we execute POs and they get into our accounting system managed by the county, then the projects start to show up, and they don't fall off until we've paid the final invoices and they're removed from the books. So you'll see, let's see, 3 projects, I believe, that are 100% complete. Those are just about to come off, but I think they're still probably in process for paying off the final invoices and clearing the books. And then the top item, acquisition of water rights, that had to do with TROA, Section 1E4. I believe that we are finished with that one, too. So that one's going to finish with a balance that'll go back into the fund of about $47,000. And then as we execute contracts, you'll see more of them coming online as they get into the accounting system as well. On the flip side is the financial report. So just in general, our water surcharge revenues are, it looks like a little bit ahead of schedule. So after the first 2 months, we've collected almost a quarter of our year's projected revenues from the water surcharge. So we're looking good there, and our expenses are not anywhere near what we're bringing in at this point. So I think we're well in the black and looking good financially this year so far. With that, I'll take questions or comments on either side of this report.
Okay, are there any questions for Mr. Smitherman? Okay. All right, thank you. All right, we'll move on then to item number 9, discussion regarding location and possible agenda items for September 2019 Northern Nevada Water Planning Commission meeting and other further meetings and possible direction to staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. September 4 would be our next regularly scheduled meeting. We don't have any pressing time-sensitive issues, so there is the one item for me to come back with a report on accessing study results for Bedell Flat, and I would assume all of the A-plus types of projects. So I can do that. Otherwise, we're pretty open as far as agenda items, so if you or the commissioners have any requests for reports on anything else or any of the other projects, we're listening. But like I said, no critical time-sensitive issues that we'd have to bring forth on a September 4 agenda.
Okay. Yes, Mr. DiMartino.
Yeah, thank you, Jim, for the Bedell Flat, covering that. I was also wanting to capture possibly, if I can do it now, where the depository of information and results would be for all the work going on with regards to Class A that's going on with regards being done by the university, for instance. Is there a website or is there a specific place that at least the experts, not necessarily all the public, but where the experts can go to find data? Or is that something that you could look into maybe for us in the future?
I can do that.
You could combine that with the same agenda item.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, anything more on item number 9 from the commission?
So, yes, I'd like to request that we get a report back from TUMWA on the results of the American Flat infiltration study that was completed. I think that will be helpful for us to have as well.
Okay.
And then just on this item, we're looking at potential for the September meeting. Jim, you were saying that there's not a lot on there. Is there a thought about moving that meeting or maybe not having a meeting in September and moving that to October, or what are your thoughts?
We could go either way on that, really. I know that we'll have some items on October leading up to, that's the next meeting or month that the Western Regional Water Commission will meet. So really your pleasure. I can go either way on that one.
So with that, I guess I would make a motion. I think that's appropriate in this item, John.
Yes.
So I make a motion that we have our next regular scheduled meeting for October,
That'd be the second.
and that would be October 2nd, thank you, at 1:30.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second to schedule our next commission meeting on October 2nd, at 1:30 here. We got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay. Anything further on item number 9? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 10, which is commission comments. Any commission comments? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to staff comments. Any staff comments? No? No for the staff.
Yeah, no staff comments, thank you.
Okay, item number 12, we do have a request for public comment from Kathy Brandhorst on item number 12.
My name is Kathy Brandhorst, and I am the United States President. I just wanted to let you know there is a house on Riverside Drive, which they're trying to tell you about. It has been vacant. I've been looking at this house for a very long time, over a year now. It's still vacant, but they told me I moved into this house. Yes, I do remember moving into it. I started decorating inside the house. But somebody had to walk inside that house somehow, maybe have a key or break the door down, break a lock on the door and the latch on the other side of the door in order to get inside the house with the machine gun that they were carrying, and put over 1 billion bullet holes inside my body while I was inside the house. The house crumbled down to the ground. And they were telling me this while I was standing outside the house because I did not remember what was happening in this house. They had to rebuild this house. And this man walks up and says, well, they owe me $50,000. I don't know nothing about this. I have no idea. I don't know who rebuilt the house. I don't know who put that house back together, but it looks very nice. The windows are put back in, and the house structure is almost the same as it was before. Now, I don't know who's responsible for that. I have no idea, but is that the reason why they had to put the bullet holes in me? I already got an okay to move in. I'm the owner of that house. And I was told, here's your keys, move in, so I did. And I started decorating because it is mine. But there was a description there. Somebody told me I could not, totally move in without a payment on it. So I gave them a check for $50,000. It was in my name. And he said he could not take that check. Somebody else said that check cannot be cashed by him at all. So give me that check, $50,000. You cannot have it. Oh my. So this man says, yes, they owe me $50,000 to Mike. I don't know anything else about this situation at all. But I don't deserve bullets.
Okay, are there any other public comments? Seeing none, we're going to move on to item number 13. adjournment. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you.